So joining us now on Empty the Bench is a multiple-time Emmy-award-winning sportscaster. It's somebody Nick and I actually have a bit of history with, Jamie Stuart. Jamie, thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate it. The pleasure is all mine. Thanks, guys.
So for those of you who don't know, Jamie actually taught us when we were back at Hofstra University, Tom and I. So you're looking at the Jedi Master who imparted his knowledge to us.
Yeah, I'll let you know your grade when we're done.
Okay, so let me just see if I could start things off on a more cynical note here. So we'll talk a little bit about NFL. So with the firing of Gettleman and Judge this week, on a scale of 1 to 10, how screwed are the Giants?
I was taught, most people know that I'm like a lifelong Jets fan. I can't hide it anymore. I hid it for like a long time and I can't hide it anymore. And I was talking to my friend the other day and I said, the season ended. We saw the whole 3rd and 9 call. The season ended. I thought he would stay. Judge would stay. I thought Gettleman would go. Gettleman left. And a day went by. And then another day went by. And then they decided to let him go. And I said to my friend who's a Giants fan, I said, you know what? I think it has taken about 30-something years. But at this point, on this day, I think the Giants have reached Jets level of dysfunctionalism, bottom of the barrel basement. I think it's a 10 out of 10 as far as being bad, to be honest with you. With the salary cap, with the quarterback, with no GM, with no coach. I mean, can you get worse?
I can't think of any.
I don't want to imagine it worse.
I don't want to imagine that, Jamie.
No. And I was wrong. I'm not a Giants hater. I actually thought the Giants were going to do pretty well this year because they went all in free agency. And I didn't hate Danny Dimes as much as some other people did, but he didn't perform well. The team was awful. And, their free agents were just completely did not pan out. Tony had like a game and a half, which great, and then never played again. Galladay, I mean, we all have as many touchdowns as Galladay does. So it was just horrible.
Jesus.
All the touchdowns, but none of his money.
Oh, God.
That is, at least I don't.
Well, speaking of miserable Jet fan, I'm the one miserable Jet fan on this podcast.
Misery loves
what?
Misery loves company.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Robert Saleh did not get fired on Monday. Hallelujah, especially since Black Monday saw a lot of coaches go in the dust. Do you see a path to improvement with the team? And I've been the biggest, I don't know if I want to say hater of Zack Wilson, which I kind of have been.
Okay.
But how do you feel about Zack Wilson and also Robert Saleh?
Well, I'm going to turn the tables on you. Why are you a hater on Zack Wilson?
I just don't like the game. I don't like the fit. I don't like the way the team is strategized out. And he's not in a position to succeed. I feel like I'm in a Sam Darnold situation all over again.
But that means you're hating the team, the foundation, not Zack. Or are you hating Zack?
I also don't think Zack is a prepared guy. I just don't see the game in him, and he's not succeeding in a way that New York needs to succeed.
It's in the game, like you say, the IQ.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, I do think there are certainly similarities with the whole Darnold experiment, and Jets fans do not want to go through that again, for sure. Here's the deal with Wilson. I definitely think you saw improvement in the final month after he came back from injuries, no interceptions, the final 5 games. All right, maybe we're going a little too haywire over that, but still, it was an improvement. Because remember, after the first month, people thought he was going to break Peyton Manning's interception record as a rookie, and he finished with, I think, 11. So that was good. The thing about Wilson is he was a bit of a risk at number 2, if you want to be honest. This guy, we're basing, Jet fans and really younger Jets fans are they're trying to be optimistic and saying, I saw improvement and he's a rookie and he didn't have a lot around him and the receivers never played. Okay, that's fine. But remember, he was only the number 2 pick based off of one season. One college season, which was an aberration from his other seasons. I mean, I hate to be a party pooper and a damper on it, but that is the case. Now, Hopefully, Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh, LaFleur know more than we do. He's got talent. I was at the Titans game, which is probably his most electrifying game. He still missed a wide open touchdown from the guy 5 yards away. But I understand your skepticism, and this is a huge offseason for the Jets. Just like the Giants, multiple picks in the first round. Unlike the Giants, tons of salary cap room still. So I'll say this. I'll finish it with this. If at the end of next year we don't know anything more about Zack Wilson, push the panic button. We need to know something, because you don't want to be in a situation that the Jets were with Darnold and that the Giants are right now with Daniel Jones. Because you've got some Giants fans who say, give him another shot because he doesn't have any supporting cast. So,
well, let's move on from the terrible New York football to the football that we've got starting up this weekend. The big quality football, playoff football, and dare I say, Jamie, that this is perhaps the most open that the NFL playoffs have been in a little while in terms of the quality of teams and their records and such. Who do you like for your Super Bowl pick?
You know, it's funny. Now I got to really think about it. I hadn't really thought about it. Let's think. Well, Titans have home field, right? In the AFC.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough for the. I like the Bills. I think they're very dangerous. I know people were like a little down on them but you know what? They've won 4 or 5 in a row to end the season. It's how you get into the playoffs. They lost to the Titans on the last play of the game. They destroyed the Chiefs in Kansas City. Like, the Bills are a tough out. Maybe they weren't playing great. They're a tough out. But beating New England, then they'd have to win at KC and then at Tennessee. So probably not. After that, I would probably say, is it too lame to just pick Kansas City again? I mean,
No.
KC at Tennessee. Who's your money on if it's KC at Tennessee? It's probably KC, right?
Yeah. If I had.
It's definitely KC. Yeah.
Probably, and they're playing pretty well, and the defense has gotten better. So I'm telling you, though, I do think Buffalo is a real tough out if they don't get picked off this week. And then as far as the NFC goes, real good games, like you said, real tough teams. I think the Rams can beat anybody. The Cardinals are kind of sour on at this point. The Packers, obviously, and I'm going to go with the Packers. I think this is Aaron Rodgers' revenge tour to as far as what happened last year. They blew it at home. I'm going to go with the Packers.
I want to ask one follow-up, which is, I'm sure you saw the whole situation with Boomer Esiason and the whole rumored text message. Was it from Aaron Rodgers' camp? Was it not? What do you make of that whole situation? Do you think Aaron Rodgers is making a scene with that whole thing or no?
Well, I mean, we don't know. I mean, Aaron Rodgers didn't publicly say that, did he?
Well, he made a comment because someone was talking about Jordan Love and get him ready because he might boycott the Super Bowl and all this weird stuff. And then the rumors came out that apparently it could have been from Aaron Rodgers' camp.
Right, but Aaron Rodgers didn't confirm those, right?
No, he didn't actually confirm it, but I just think it's bizarre.
I mean, it is bizarre. I mean, we'll have to wait. I mean, it's there's no way Aaron Rodgers is going to miss the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I have no idea why Boomer Esiason is putting that out there in the open.
I mean, look, maybe someone floated around. He's kind of a quirky guy in the last few years. I think he's feeling himself, Aaron Rodgers, and he loves just being that, quirky little guy with the beanie cap and doing whatever he wants. Maybe I'll play, maybe I won't. I'm immunized, but he ain't missing the Super Bowl.
Showing his toes on camera.
Yeah.
Another follow-up. As a longstanding Jets fan, what about the possibility of a Brady versus Belichick, Tampa Bay versus New England Super Bowl?
Well, I mean, I can go glass half full and say one of them is going to lose, right? But, at this point, as a Jets fan, I just look at them with admiration. I'm sick of we're not in the same league as the Patriots and Belichick and Brady. Maybe when Rex was here, then it was let's go, let's bring it. But now it's like, we bow down to the king. It's 20 years. We're just trying to be in the graphic that says in the hunt in December. So if it's Belichick versus Brady, yeah, it'll just be another ho-hum. I'm trying to think who I would root for. I think I would root for Brady in that one. I don't think I want the Patriots to win again.
No, the only time we would see Belichick in New York is if we saw it for 2 traded draft picks for the Giants as a head coach.
You think so? Or GM.
Or GM, yeah.
Yeah, but I do think the Giants, would be the team that he would go to if he ever left New England, for sure.
Makes sense.
Don't tease me.
I think the thing is, yeah, I mean, he's in the playoffs now, so maybe he likes Mac Jones, and I'm sure there's something inside of Belichick that wants to win without Brady, for sure.
Speaking of more COVID idiocy, I have to ask you, what do you make of Novak Djokovic apologizing for attending a photo shoot while knowingly positive with COVID?
Well, I think it was today on Friday, his visa was canceled again.
Second time. Yep.
Right. So I don't know what's going on. I think he's going to, his lawyers are appealing that tomorrow and to find out if he has to go back to Serbia or not. I mean, my take is, I mean, Joker's a joke. It's a joke. It's ridiculous. The fact that he's trying to do this and skirt the issue. And, he made it, you make a choice, you make your bed, you lie in it. You don't want to get vaccinated and don't play. End of discussion.
I mean, we're talking about 50% capacity at the Australian Open. Everyone in Australia has to be vaccinated. It's one of the strictest lockdown countries in the world for COVID. And he's trying, like you said, trying to skirt the rules. I don't need this. I don't need that. Whatever.
And then he says he has like a medical issue, but nobody knows what it is. Like I'm a world-class athlete. I'm the number one tennis player in the world. I have a medical issue that no one knew about. He's just trying to get around it because he's Djokovic. And I'm glad that Australia and the citizens of Australia were not putting up with it, because there was like an uproar when it looked like it may happen. And Australia was like, what are you kidding me?
Well, do you think that the world of tennis is desperate? I shouldn't say world of tennis, but the Men's Tennis Association, or whatever you want to call it at this point, because I don't know. But are they desperate for the money at this point?
I don't know about that. I mean, I know they'd like the number one player or, top 5 player to play. I mean, he is the number 1 ranked player in the world. It's not a good look when the number 1 player in the world is not playing on the Australian Open. But at the end of the day, everyone's health supersedes that. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, as far as, I don't think tennis is going to lose out. I think more people would applaud tennis for not having him in there, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a bizarre situation.
It is bizarre. The whole thing is weird. Second time, and then we'll see what happens, though. I mean, who knows by Saturday? Maybe his lawyers will win on some technicality. I have no idea. My brother.
Well, the one thing is that if he loses the injunction, I think he'd be banned from Australia for 3 years. That was the report I was hearing also. So
we'll see what happens with that.
But speaking of firsts, what do you think of Rachel Balkovich becoming the Yankees minor league manager in low Class A?
I think it's awesome. Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I saw some like bad tweets from some haters or some chauvinist guys, but I mean, it's just stupid. It's awesome. I mean, you see, female officials in the NBA, and to have her with the Yankees, I think it's great. Clearly, she's paid her dues, probably more so potentially than a guy. I heard that she had to change her name on her resume to Ray to get people to notice her more, which I think is sad, but at the same time, pretty smart on her part. So I'm all for it. I don't know, clearly I don't think the Yankees are a supreme organization. They're not just going to, throw someone a bone just to do it for a publicity stunt. So she earned her way for sure. And I'm excited to see it.
I mean, it also happened with Kim Ning up further in the organization. Yeah. And look where she ended up. Yeah. Because now she's with the Marlins, I think, right? She's running that organization.
Yeah.
With Jeter.
Right. So yeah, I think it's a good move on their part. I mean, regardless whether if they did it for attention or not, it's still.
I don't think they did. I don't think they did. I don't think the Yankees would do that. So, I think she was a strength and conditioning coach at some point, softball catcher. So, good for her. I think it's at this point, we shouldn't be surprised about these things anymore. We should just welcome them and say, go get them. We'll see how you do. I mean, look at Becky Hammond. I mean, she's so
yeah
head coach, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, what do you think? Switching to the other New York team, what do you think the Mets' thought process was in bringing in Buck Showalter?
I think it was probably Steve Cohen's thought process.
Okay, so yeah, switch to that. What is
He's
the temperamental billionaire? What was he thinking?
whatever he was thinking, I agree with, because he was just like, get me Buck. I want to steal the not only steal the headlines, but this is a proven winner. He's won in New York. He just missed out many times. You can sit there and poke holes in his resume and all that, but the bottom line is the Mets are much better off with Buck Showalter as their manager. I think it was a great hire. Cohen has had some interesting hits and misses so far, but I'm in favor of it. I think it's a really good move, and I'm happy for Buck Showalter. You know, as a Yankee fan, you know he brought the team to the playoffs after they were horrible, and then he gets the axe, and Joe Torre comes in, and the dynasty begins. So, and I think that happened in Arizona too with Buck. I think he just missed out on the World Series. So I'm happy for Buck. I think it's a great move.
So I like as a Yankee fan myself, I see what the Mets are doing. Like I'm happy that they brought in Showalter. It's a great move. You see all these insane free agency moves, but it's like, can the Mets really win? It's like how many more times can they be denied? And yet it's like you see all these big moves. It's like it's just we have the typical Mets, same old Mets. We say
Yeah,
around here.
you're right. You're right. I mean, the Mets win the offseason, and then they watch the Yankees in the playoffs, right? I mean, that's how it's been. It's not the perception won't change until reality changes. Same thing with the Jets. What's the best time to be a Jets fan? Yeah, you know, when the season's over and the playoffs are over. Yeah, we can talk about free agents, talk about the draft. So yeah, people are sick of that. So you're right. You're right. But you know, the Mets really underachieved last year. I mean, you know, they blew it. I mean, they were in first place for like more than half the season, and they totally blew it. So they've got some work to do. You know, Syndergaard's gone. We'll see about, you know, DeGrom can stay healthy, but they got another ace, so they're loaded there. So it'll be interesting, but it'll be cool to see Buck for sure.
Now, let's go to something that Jamie and I both have a love of, and that is a love of combat sports. So, UFC is coming back this weekend. Next week, big title fight between Ngannou and Gane. We've had the announcement of Masvidal and Covington. They're going to be duking it out very soon. But what is the one fight that you want to see happen in 2022?
Oh gosh, one fight I want to see. Well, I mean, from Long Island, so I always rep Long Island boys, but you know, Chris Weidman's had a tough time lately. But Aljamain Sterling was the champ, but people are very wishy-washy on how Aljamain won that, and that was against Jan.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see that rematch because there's a lot of bad blood between those guys because Jan was winning that fight, and then he gives him the knee, and Aljamain can't continue, so Aljamain gets the belt. Then Aljamain has surgery on his neck, can't defend it. He's walking around with a belt for like a year. So you know there's bad blood there. I like to see that. And look, I love watching McGregor fights. I want to see. I was very disappointed that McGregor, you know, couldn't win his last fight. So I'd love to see if that happens again. But he's just great for the sport. But I don't know if his time has passed. I don't think I can root for Brock Lesnar to come back anymore. I think that's over.
I think that ship has sailed.
He's having a great second run in WWE again, or like the 8th run. But I love all UFC. I love all the fights, every weight class. It's awesome. You never know when a new star is born. I mean, Amanda Nunes taps out. That was shocking.
It's been a month later, and I still am not recovered from that.
Right? Yeah. So it's great. It's great. I'm a converted mixed martial arts fan in the sense that, I mean, for a long time now, but when it first came out or when I first watched it, I don't even know, maybe 15 years ago, at first I was just like, you can just choke the guy and then it's over. I mean, where's the figure 4 leg lock? But I've gotten more and more into it over the last 15 years and really respect it. I love it. I love the big fight feel. There's nothing like it. Boxing used to have that. So, I'll be tuning in. And I'll be tuning, especially speaking of boxing, Long Island's Joe Smith Jr. is defending his championship tomorrow night. And that's actually on ESPN tomorrow night. So I'll watch that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Got to make sure to tune in for Smith.
Yeah.
Speaking of the WWE, bringing them up. So it's been an interesting time. Over the last few years, they've gotten this competitor in AEW. But ever since the pandemic, it's been quite a crazy time with WWE between the cuts over the last 2 years.
Crazy.
Them bringing in Nick Khan. Now they're changing the whole developmental system. Triple H seems to be out of power. What do you make of what's been going on over there the last couple of years? Is this a step in the wrong direction, or?
I mean, I know a lot of the fans, they're very negative on everything that WWE has done because every couple of months there's another superstar leaving, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to think they know what they're doing. They're not dumb, but it's kind of hard to defend, losing letting Braun Strowman walk or letting Bray Wyatt walk, and but Kevin Owens did resign, which I was surprised about. Let's be honest. I mean, WWE has not. It's not been nearly as good as it used to be, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, and maybe I'm finally maturing, maybe, but like. I used to watch every single Monday Night Raw and every single SmackDown and every single event. And in the last 6-7 months, I might miss half of Raw. I may not watch all of it. And that never has happened to me before. But I watch and I'm like, like the star power it's not moving the needle, to take away the Tribal Chief's catchphrase. I like Reigns. And obviously, I love Brock's my guy, so I always love him when he comes back. I love his new character. I think it's great. I like Rollins. I like Big E. I like Drew McIntyre. But yeah, AEW is cool. I like AEW. It's fun to see it. I wanted to go watch them at where was it at Arthur Ashe Stadium and the U.S. Open.
Oh, the Grand Slam, yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't go. My friend went. He said it was pretty good. So we'll see, but I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for wrestling, for sure.
I want to throw one follow-up. What did you think of the whole Jake Paul versus Dana White social media snafu?
Jake Paul.
That's all you have to say. We can fill in the rest.
No, I'm going to surprise you a little bit because Jake Paul, first of all, I'm a little older, so I had to Google Jake Paul at first when this. I mean, my daughters watch YouTube all the time. They know what's going on. Fun. Okay. And he's fighting, whatever, a rapper or whatever, and he beats a rapper. Who cares? And then I'm going to up the ante a little bit. I'm going to fight Nate Robinson. He's a former world-class athlete, former NBA athlete at least. Okay. Almost takes Robinson's head off. That's a little impressive, but it's Nate Robinson. Who cares? But then he keeps going. And then he fights Askren, right? From
Ben Askren, yeah.
Now what? Now what did all the haters say? Now he's gonna get smoked. Now he's fighting a UFC guy, retired, but still he's gonna get smoked. Took his head off.
Yep.
And then Tyron.
Oh no, he froze.
Are you hearing me?
Yep.
Yeah. We can hear you now.
Then he fights Woodley, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "Oh, now you're gonna get smoked." And he's beat Woodley, and he went to fight him again. Went to fight Fury's brother. Fury's brother taps out, says they can't fight. Woodley steps in, destroys Woodley. Look, is he cherry picking, so to speak, his opponents? Yes, but it's not like he's, outpointing them and getting a corrupted decision. He's annihilating these guys. If he stepped into the ring with a real boxer, I think he would probably get smoked in 2 rounds. But I'm giving him credit because he's taking it seriously. He looks in great shape. He's the Conor McGregor of promoters, and he gets people to buy in. And do you know who should be embarrassed? Not Jake Paul. It should be Askren. It should be Tyron Woodley. Those guys should be embarrassed, in my opinion.
Well, that's the other whole thing about it is that he's also doing it while throwing bags of money where these guys who in the UFC have never seen before because
Right.
of Jake Paul's popularity.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting the biggest paydays ever. Now, I have an issue when people are saying that it's a fixed fight. I don't think it is.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it is. I don't think Woodley and Aspen are going to just sign up to get smoked by Jake Paul for $1 million. I don't think so. They're not that hard up for money. Come on.
Go ask Floyd what you think about being hard up for money is.
Floyd is, didn't Floyd fought Paul's brother, right?
Yes.
Yes.
It wasn't a
Logan.
sanctioned fight.
Yeah.
Exhibition, yeah.
And I of course, like an idiot, watched that fight too. And that was disappointing because you wanted Floyd to win, and people said Floyd carried him, but Floyd's also like 50 pounds less, and he's 45 years old, and this, But Floyd said, what did Floyd say? He had one of my favorite catchphrases. He used to say something to the effect of, I'm the best legalized bank robber. It was something which is
you
true.
kind of have to think about it because it doesn't really make sense.
No, but it's like, I heard that and I'm like, no, he's right.
I'm the best at legalized bank robbery. Yeah, there it is.
Oh man.
All right.
Yeah, I'll watch all the fights, and I'll watch the NFL playoffs. And who do you guys pick for the Super Bowl?
We don't know.
I went with the Chiefs. I that's the thing. Like, I kind of began the year by saying rematch with the Chiefs getting revenge, and they're both in it. So I feel like something I learned from your class. I feel obligated. My picks are still in there. It's like I gotta have to stick with it. I
agree. I didn't make a prediction earlier, but I agree. You stick with it. Hey, if those teams are still alive, why not?
Yeah, I'm going with KC at this point until someone proves me wrong. I mean, I looked at New England because everyone is calling out New England again and saying, well, they look great again. It's Bill Belichick up to his tricks all over again. But I just don't. I think KC's better.
If Buffalo, and I know I keep on talking about Buffalo, if Buffalo beats New England, which I think they will, but you never know, would it then be Buffalo at KC? We have to see what happens with, I guess, Cincy, Oakland. I mean,
yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's all up in the air. That's what's so crazy about the last couple of years. Like, everything was so obvious. This year, it's like very up in the air. A lot of competitive football ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if Buffalo's been playing very well. If they beat New England in a tough game, and then they face KC, who's been resting for a week and a half, and Buffalo smoked them in KC earlier this year, I'm just saying, watch out.
Yeah. So, Tom, I want to just ask one thing. So, we talk a lot of sports. We talk about a lot of careers. We talk about a lot of things. I'm a fan of your work. I watched you on TV for many years.
We all are.
And we all are. And we're not going to mention, because you said not to mention, but just talk about how what it was like working where you were for 20 years and just how it was really cool in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome being a sports reporter if you could do it. It's you're in a locker room with Derek Jeter getting champagne, but you're also in a locker room when the Jets lose the AFC Championship game. But you're at Stanley Cup playoffs, Knicks, opening days. It's awesome. It's what you guys love to do. It's what I love to do. You're talking sports. So you can imagine talking sports and getting paid for it. So that was my dream, and I've been living it, and that's your guys' dream as well. I think it's all it's cracked up to be, because you know what? There are a lot of late nights. As I told these guys, there are a lot of things that people don't see. They just see you at a picture of you at the game. Oh, that's awesome. They don't see you getting home at 4 a.m. or whatever, or being there for 14 hours.
Or the game changing. You have to throw out your entire story because somebody hit a home run in the bottom of the ninth.
Oh, yeah. You've got to be able to adjust on the fly in 2 seconds and be like, oh, scrap that. But it's awesome. I mean, I wouldn't have I trade it for anything. I mean, because let's be honest, your job is cooler than your friend's job, right?
I got to admit that I have a little experience now with that, with what we talked about, the whole change on the fly last month with Nunez. So I was
Yeah.
sitting over there. I had it ready for FanSided. I had it. I pre-wrote it to the point of like I just had to write details, but I figured Nunez was going to win, and it's like, oh
You got to
boy.
scrap the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what sports guys are really good at, adjusting on the fly, real quick. Things are going to happen fast. With sports, you're covering sports. You're kind of like chilling throughout the night, just like watching the game and having fun. But everything happens in the final, at 11 o'clock at night. That's when everything happens fast. Like you've got to file fast. You've got to be a report on TV fast. And the game just ended fast. Like I can't tell you how many times, like I was on the air at 10:50 and the game would end at 10:25. And I have 25 minutes to run into the locker room, get an interview, cut it, send it back. And oh, by the way, think about my report live that I'm going to say that actually sounds coherent, tossing to these things and figuring it out. And then when it's done, it's all a blur. It's all within like 10 minutes. You're like running around. And then it's done. And then I'm thinking of what my morning report recap is going to be. And before you know it, I'm leaving the garden at 12:45 in the morning. But I'm not complaining. It's a lot of fun. It's
How did you deal with COVID? Because I know a lot of companies, like, they couldn't really get into locker rooms. I don't know. Did you have that issue like everybody else did with getting reports and getting closer to athletes?
The teams wouldn't let you. You couldn't go anywhere. I mean, you
Right.
couldn't. So everything would be like it is now, sort of on Zoom. And so you couldn't really be there in person. But everybody adapted and adjusted. And you just did interviews via Zoom and recorded them like we're doing. And you edit them and use them that way. It allowed you to do more interviews than usual because in the real world, you're going to the events, you're going to the practice. This takes time. Now, like if I wanted an interview with someone, they don't even have to be in New York. I can just, hey, you want to do a Zoom in 20 minutes? Boom. Want to do a Zoom at 3 o'clock? Boom. Record it.
That's kind of how this happened.
Right. The others would send, might do a practice and they say, we're going to have a live Zoom at 1 o'clock. And Barry trots and then 4 other guys and you record all of them and that's it. So it's definitely an adjustment. I'm looking forward to hopefully one day being back there that you can actually be in person because you get more of it's not as easy to do an interview over Zoom, but you manage.
So one last thing I want to ask you about. So kind of a two-parter. Firstly, your favorite memories of sportscasting and just current advice for anyone, any current students who are looking to get into this media landscape, especially at a crazy time like this.
Yeah, well, I mean, to tackle the second question, I mean, there's so many more avenues and outlets out there than there used to be. When I first broke in, it was, so now you can a zillion websites, podcasts. When I was first coming up, it was basically just you interned at a TV station or, I send a VHS tape, FedEx it to somebody and see if they like it. You guys don't even know what a VHS tape is. So
I
do.
I know.
But now there's so many avenues. So I guess my advice is, follow a lot of people. Try and make your interests and what you talk about diverse. So don't just talk about one thing. Try to be as educated as you can and as knowledgeable as you can, as many different sports so you can chime in. Go on those career websites because you never know who's looking for something. And like I told you guys in my class, don't be afraid to take that first job that's not your dream job. Like it doesn't have to be on air. Like I know you want to do it, but you might take the writer job. You might take the producer job. But as long as you know how to do X, Y, and Z, there most likely will come a point where they say, hey, can anybody do this? Or, hey, we need someone who can do this. Does somebody know how to operate a camera? Can someone go on camera and do a video version of this for quickly? Boom. And then you're golden. So just try to be as well versed as you can. And as far as favorite memories, I was at the Subway Series when the Yanks beat the Mets. Fun fact. So I was a producer for that Subway Series. The Yankees beat the Mets. Now, this was before 9/11. So security was a lot more lax than it has been. Fun fact. After it was done, I talk about late nights, right? I'm at, this was Shea Stadium at the time. Shea Stadium till it must be 1:30 in the morning at this point. I had like a little pocket knife, and I went back onto the field because I had this premonition of what I wanted to do. And don't worry, this doesn't get graphic. I had this little pocket knife, and I carved out a little piece of grass in the outfield that I wanted to keep to commemorate Yankees, Mets, Subway Series, World Series. I put it in a little Ziploc bag. I brought it home, and my plan was to frame it with like a little plaque and commemorate it. And I did that. But I realized, like, as I was getting through that process, like 6 days later, well, the grass is not growing. It's turning brown. I mean, I was 20 something years old. I'm not I don't have a green thumb. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, look good. So I went to Home Depot, and I just got grass colored spray paint, and I sprayed it, and it's in a plaque, and I have it in my man cave, and I still
I like it. That's great.
Yeah. So, but it is the grass. It is the grass from the Subway Series. So that was a favorite memory. Flying to Indianapolis for Jets Colts AFC Championship.
I remember you talking about that, actually. Yeah.
I still have the press pass that they gave me. So yeah, and just so many other things. High school games, college games, Islander playoff games, U.S. Open, boxing events. I interviewed Shaq once. A lot of cool stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, Shaq is exactly how he looks and sounds. Like, he's so nice, and he is by far the most massive human being I've ever been encountered with. Unbelievable. But I could barely fit through the hallway.
It's amazing where this journey of this crazy wild world takes you.
It is. You just got to, what? My advice is, be nice. Don't be a jerk. Because you never know when, Nick might need Tom in 10 years, and Tom might need Nick in 5 years. You never know. So be nice, because I got a lot of people that I call now. A lot of people call me that I haven't spoken to in 10 years. And boom, they call me out of the blue. No problem. What can I do for you? So your reputation at the end of the day is what's most important.
It's all about connections and all who you know, but it's also being nice to every person you run into. If you treat someone like a jerk, then that might be the next person that's hiring you somewhere else. So just in the real world in general, yeah. So.
Right. Exactly. This can be life advice, not just professional advice.
Right.
For sure. So. Jamie, man, it's been so good catching up with you. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.